Charlotte's web begins on a quiet morning at the arable farm, where Fern Arable learns that her father is about to kill a runt piglet. Fern, upset by the idea of an innocent animal being killed, passionately pleads with her father to spare the piglet's life. She convinces him to let her take care of it. Fern names the pig Wilbur and cares for him as though he were her own baby. Wilbur becomes part of Fern's daily life, and she grows very attached to him. Wilbur quickly grows, and when he becomes too large to be kept in the house, Mr. Arable insists that he be moved to the barn at her Uncle Homer Zuckerman's farm. There, Wilbur feels lonely without Fern constantly by his side. He longs for friendship and is disappointed when the other animals on the farm do not seem interested in befriending him. Fern visits Wilbur regularly, but it's not enough to cure his loneliness. Wilbur, seeking excitement and feeling bored in the barn, escapes through a loose board in the fence. He wanders around the farmyard, but he soon realizes that the world outside the barn is not as appealing as he thought. Despite his new freedom, he quickly becomes frightened and unsure of what to do. The animals and the humans chase after him, and eventually, Wilbur is captured and returned to his pen. The whole experience leaves him feeling more lonely than ever. Wilbur's sense of isolation deepens. He tries to befriend the other animals in the barn, but none of them seem interested. The goose, the sheep, and the cows are indifferent to his attempts at friendship. Wilbur becomes increasingly depressed. He wishes desperately for a friend, someone who would understand and care for him. Just when Wilbur is at his lowest, a gentle voice speaks to him from the shadows. This voice belongs to Charlotte, a large gray spider who lives in the rafters of the barn. Charlotte introduces herself, and though Wilbur is initially frightened by her appearance, he soon realizes that she is kind, intelligent, and wise. Charlotte quickly becomes Wilbur's friend, and they form a deep bond. As summer unfolds, Fern continues to visit Wilbur, but she also begins to spend more time with other children, including her brother Avery. Wilbur and Charlotte grow closer, and Charlotte reveals more about her life as a spider. Meanwhile, the farm is buzzing with activity, with the animals going about their daily routines and the humans preparing for the county fair. The peacefulness of summer, however, is interrupted when Wilbur hears alarming news from the sheep. The Zuckermans are fattening him up to be slaughtered for Christmas ham. Wilbur is devastated by the news that he is destined for the dinner table. He is filled with fear and despair, knowing that his life is in danger. Charlotte, however, is determined to save her friend. She calmly promises Wilbur that she will come up with a plan to prevent him from being slaughtered. Though Wilbur is worried, Charlotte's confidence gives him hope. Fern overhears her parents discussing her unusual behavior. They are concerned about how much time she spends at the barn and how she claims that the animals talk to each other. Fern's parents believe it might be unhealthy for her to have such a vivid imagination. Nevertheless, Fern continues to visit the barn and spend time with her beloved Wilbur. Wilbur, feeling more secure after Charlotte's promise to help him, begins to boast about his future. He proudly talks about how he is going to live and how Charlotte is going to save him. The other animals are skeptical and do not believe Charlotte can help. Wilbur tries to spin a web like Charlotte to prove his abilities, but fails miserably. He realizes that he must rely on Charlotte's wisdom. One morning, a loud explosion occurs at the barn when Avery, Fern's mischievous brother, attempts to capture Charlotte. In his excitement, Avery knocks over the goose's egg, which explodes with a horrible smell. This incident, though chaotic, strengthens Wilbur and Charlotte's friendship as they navigate the antics of Avery and the humans on the farm. Charlotte begins to execute her plan to save Wilbur. She spins a web in the barn with the words "some pig" woven into it. When Mr. Zuckerman sees the miraculous web, he is astonished and quickly spreads the word about the miracle on his farm. News of the web spreads, and soon, people from all around come to see the amazing pig and his spider web. Charlotte's clever plan to save Wilbur is beginning to work. As more and more people come to see Wilbur and the miracle web, the animals in the barn hold a meeting to discuss what to do next. Charlotte knows that one message in the web will not be enough to save Wilbur, so she begins to plan her next move. The barnyard animals, including Templeton the rat, agree to help Charlotte in her efforts to save Wilbur's life. Charlotte continues her work, weaving more words into her web, including terrific and radiant. Each new word adds to the excitement surrounding Wilbur, and he becomes a local celebrity. People are convinced that Wilbur is no ordinary pig, and he is treated with even more care and attention by the Zuckermans. Wilbur's fate seems to be changing and his spirits are lifted. Dr. Dorian, a family friend, is called to check on Fern. He is amused by her stories about the talking animals and the miraculous web. He reassures Mrs. Arable that Fern's imagination is healthy and that there is nothing to worry about. Dr. Dorian also reflects on the wonders of nature, hinting that perhaps there is more to the world than meets the eye. As summer turns to fall, the crickets in the barn begin to sing, signaling the end of the season. Wilbur starts to worry again as the fair approaches, knowing that his life still hangs in the balance. Charlotte, however, remains focused on her plan and continues to support Wilbur. The changing season brings a sense of urgency, as the time to save Wilbur grows short. The day of the county fair finally arrives. Wilbur is loaded into a crate and taken to the fairgrounds. Charlotte and Templeton accompany him, with Charlotte determined to see her plan through to the end. At the fair, Wilbur is placed in a pen where he will be judged alongside other pigs. The excitement of the fair and the looming judgment weigh heavily on Wilbur and his friends. At the fair, Wilbur meets his competition, a large, impressive pig named Uncle. Uncle is bigger and stronger than Wilbur, and it seems likely that he will win the blue ribbon. Wilbur is filled with doubt, but Charlotte reassures him that she will continue to help him. She begins to weave another web, this time with the word humble in it, to emphasize Wilbur's modest and endearing qualities. As evening falls, Charlotte reflects on her life and her work. She knows that her time is coming to an end, but she is determined to complete her final task for Wilbur. The bond between Charlotte and Wilbur deepens as they share their thoughts and feelings. Wilbur remains hopeful, knowing that Charlotte's wisdom and care will see him through. Charlotte reveals that she has laid an egg sac containing her future offspring. This act of creating life gives Charlotte great peace, knowing that her children will carry on after she is gone. Wilbur is moved by Charlotte's dedication and promises to care for her children. Meanwhile, Templeton gathers words for Charlotte's final web from the trash at the fairgrounds. Wilbur wins a special prize at the fair, thanks to Charlotte's final web. Though he doesn't win the blue ribbon, his victory ensures that he will not be slaughtered. The judges and spectators are amazed by the miraculous pig and his incredible web. Wilbur's life is saved, and he is overwhelmed with gratitude for Charlotte's efforts. As the fair comes to an end, Charlotte's life is nearing its close. She is too weak to return to the farm with Wilbur, and she tells him that she will die soon. Wilbur is heartbroken, but Charlotte assures him that she is content with the life she has lived and the legacy she will leave behind. Wilbur takes Charlotte's egg sac back to the barn, determined to care for her children as he had promised. Back at the Zuckerman farm, Wilbur watches over Charlotte's egg sac as winter approaches. When spring arrives, the eggs hatch, and hundreds of tiny spiders emerge. Most of them leave to spin webs of their own, but a few remain in the barn. These spiders, Charlotte's daughters, become Wilbur's new friends. Though he misses Charlotte, Wilbur finds comfort in the legacy she left behind, and he knows that her memory will live on forever. Like and subscribe to Bedtime Stories in 10 minutes.